I want to remind y'all to please do what you can, where you can, when you can. Visit change.org to sign petitions, justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for George Floyd, justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Vanessa Gillen, justice for Elijah McClain, justice for Ma'Khia Bryant, and justice for Adam Toledo. All unarmed Black Americans killed by the police instead of stopped, instead of tased, instead of pepper sprayed, instead of detained. There
In the video,
they were victims of excessive force and police brutality, and they're no longer here today
We want to
because
warn
of
you,
it.
the video can be very, very difficult to watch, but we're showing it to help add transparency to what happened that day. In the video, you can see the officers briefly talking to Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael. The father and son are accused of chasing Arbery in their truck through the neighborhood. Greg McMichael tells police he saw Arbery running through the area. He tells them he grabbed his gun and asked his son to grab his shotgun to stop Ahmaud Arbery. Travis McMichael, who was captured on cell phone video shooting Ahmaud Arbery, tells police what happened from his perspective.
Do you have any other weapons or anything on you?
Just that.
Okay.
If he would have stopped,
That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, just take a breath. Okay.
I won't run right.
I got you. So
It just doesn't look good. I mean, it just shocked me. Last thing I've ever done was do my life.
The third
Boy, you can't
suspect,
even
William
talk.
Roddy Bryan, told police he started
Fuzzy
chasing
fat fuck.
Arbery too after seeing Arbery and the McMichaels go past his house. All three men have been charged with first-degree murder, are in jail without bond at this point. They have pleaded not guilty. While the McMichaels claim there had been break-ins in the area, there is no evidence that Ahmaud Arbery was ever involved in them. His family attorney says he was just out for an afternoon jog. Attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Ahmaud Arbery's family, released a statement specifically calling out William Roddy Bryan, saying, quote, "The footage clearly documents that Bryan used his truck to block Ahmaud from escaping the McMichaels. With the murderous teamwork of
Nah, don't fumble
Bryan
now.
and the McMichaels exposed for the world to see, we are confident that this will bring us one step closer to justice for the Arbery family."
Come on, that wasn't it though. But you see how calm everybody is, that they just called the police after they just killed somebody and the police not even tripping. Calm down. It's all right. No, bitch, it's not. Somebody dead on the ground. This happened in Georgia also, where there was a teenager several years back found in a high school gymnasium rolled up in a carpet and was accused of committing suicide, rolling himself up in a carpet and locking himself up in the closet of a high school gymnasium. That was also deemed a suicide in the state of Georgia. I want to remind you also, when the quarantine and curfew first took place in March 31st of 2020, April 1st began a curfew that nobody was to be outside after 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. Also in the state of Georgia, recorded on camera, was a car a car full of white students out past curfew making their way back home was allowed to pass safely through an intersection and a stop sign by Atlanta officers or Georgia officers. When a car full of black students pulled up next to the stop sign, they were, well, let me just show you. Again, happening in the state of Georgia, where we do have black politicians and black men and women in office, where weed is being legalized in 2 or 3 different counties, thanks to their mayors, progressive mayors. However, Georgia, right next door to Alabama, the capital of the Confederacy and KKK land, USA.
two college students. We want to warn you, it is graphic. Atlanta's mayor and police chief calling it excessive force. The two officers now fired. Andy Parati was at the news briefing where the two announced their decision. And here it is.
Messiah Young attempts to record cell phone video of someone screaming and on the ground under arrest. It's 9:45 Saturday night. An officer asks the Morehouse College student to drive away and then get out of the car. Young keeps going. Officer Ivory Streeter catches up with him. Another officer then starts hitting Young's car window with a baton. On the other side of the car, officers surround Young's passenger, Tania Pilgrim, a Spelman University student. Officers ask her to get out, but the car is still moving, so Pilgrim pauses. Officer Mark Garner then deploys his taser. Back on the other side of the car, officers think Young is reaching for a gun. Seconds later, Officer Streeter fires off his taser, shocking Young for nearly 10 seconds. Young had no weapon.
Conflicting demands of operating a motor vehicle in active traffic.
Lebanon Live reporter Hope
College
Ford
student.
witnessed it live.
I just heard the officer say all you had to do was show your hands. You almost got shot.
And this is one that kept me up all night as well.
Chief Erica Shields took action quickly, firing Officers Streeter and Gardner on Sunday.
And as we watch the video today, it became abundantly clear immediately with the young woman that this force was excessive. These are good guys. I know them as individuals. I've worked with the one for over 20 years. But they made that level of mistake that cannot be rolled back.
City officials asking for forgiveness while demonstrators continue to protest against similar police brutality.
And I know that we cause further fear to you in a space that's already so fearful for so many African Americans. And I am genuinely sorry. This is not who we are. This is not what we're about.
Chief Shields says that she will ask the solicitor and attorney general to determine whether criminal charges should be filed against the two fired officers. 3 other officers are now on desk duty pending further investigation. Mayor Bottom says she hopes to personally apologize to the 2 college students soon.
If I was those 2 college students, I would never want to see another police officer for the rest of my life. I'm in college. I'm young. I'm a lower working class American. Obviously, I'm driving out here in the streets of Georgia. In the no longer Confederate South, full of racist Confederate sympathizers. The Black community is not an enemy. The Black community are not criminals. Murderers and criminals are your enemy. You understand what I'm saying? Black students are not your enemy. Gun-wielding murderers are your enemy. Your mass shooters, your baby rapists, your public bombers, those motherfuckers that you take into custody unharmed and unscathed, those are the ones you should be treating like shit. Again, something else I want to look at that has to do with the Ahmaud Arbery that we're going to take a quick look at really quickly, y'all. Hello, I hear somebody. I see you guys blowing up my inbox, but this is a music and community promotional podcast. I don't do the inbox, so y'all please get out my inbox blowing me up. Thank you. What we are gonna do though is check this video about the Ahmaud Arbery case. They're trying to bring in his previous criminal history. They say he used to steal out the corner store a lot. They're trying to say that's the reason why they suspected him of stealing something important and shot and killed him. But I just want y'all to know that no soda, no bag of chips, no ho-hos and Twinkies is worth losing your life or murdering somebody. If anything, at the most, that's a ticket and a night in jail or a fine and a night in jail. This is going to be the video we watch of this, and I'm going to reiterate the websites for y'all to visit: vote.org, change.org, and mdsave.com after this video, and we're going to go ahead and get into the smoke session. So y'all stay
Walter,
tuned.
I want to just get a sense from you as to the role of the federal government in cases like this. It's clear. I mean, they bring these charges on occasion. I think the last statistics were 2018, there were about 40 of these types of cases brought against law enforcement personnel. But clearly now they're looking to send messages here about policing in this country, don't you think?
That's correct. And this largely depends on administrations. For example, Merrick Garland, the sitting U.S. attorney, has stated that he plans to be more active in civil rights violations such as these. The federal government does have a role to step in when it feels like the public's interests are not adequately served in places like Georgia with Ahmaud Arbery, where there was no state
He's a cheater
hate crime
and a liar.
statute in Georgia at the time he was killed. And here in Minnesota, in this case, you have talk that Derek Chauvin's sentence may be as little as 12.5 years. Now, for what Derek Chauvin's been indicted for by federal prosecutors, this indictment carries the possibility of life or possibly the death sentence. And if you recall, the death sentence was the outcome of the Dylan Roof trial when federal prosecutors brought charges there. So I expect to see more of this
about George
with this administration, and this is, I believe, a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know what he said. He didn't cover nothing important that wow. It's just a lot of stuff on here, and it's not it's hurtful to me. It's hurtful to me that this nation doesn't have the common sense to know that life is to be protected and sustained first and foremost. That life and health is to be protected first and foremost before you have to accuse and catch and punish someone for criminal allegations. I think this is the video we watched this morning. It's only 5 minutes long. We're gonna give this video 5 minutes, and then we're gonna play a George Floyd memorial. And Again, I want to tell y'all, visit change.org to sign the petitions. Justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for George Floyd, justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Vanessa Gillen, Elijah McClain, Ma'Khia Bryant, and Adam Toledo, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland.
Because we're acknowledging the privilege.
Okay,
Perhaps they're
it don't stop there.
a better prosecutor than I was, because I would have fought hard to get them in, saying, look, it was recorded. They heard the announcement. They knew a third party was listening. They knew the government was listening. You can't say this was something like pillow talk in the bedroom. Tell me your reaction to the state's concession of that, please.
No, I absolutely agree. I was totally surprised that they conceded that. I literally expected them to argue to be able to get those calls in. It's just like you said, it's not like they were in a conference at their home having a conversation and their phones were tapped or somebody was, eavesdropping and listening. Like, it literally says, this is secure. It's being recorded. Anything that you say. So you already know it's being recorded, and you know this is a high profile murder case, and they're going to listen to every call that's made. The judge would have to make a decision on this. There's no way I would have gave up those phone calls to this wife so easy.
I appreciate it, Judge. Brian Dunn, give me your take. If you were in that position, in the position of the state making the argument, would you have conceded that one?
Well, the whole thing is we have to understand what is the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is not necessarily the calls between the spouses. It's those other 1,500. And probably what they have in their, that they're holding it in their vest. A lot of very incriminating calls that have gone from one defendant to the other defendant. So it may appear as though they're making a concession, but in reality, they may be doing a form of horse trading by saying, we just don't want to have a blanket rule, and we are going to take the high ground here and recognize the spousal privilege, probably because they're not that incriminating. But we're going to expect you to be fair to us when we're going to get all of these other calls in. And I think that probably is the story behind the story, as they say.
Sure. That's a really good point. Sometimes you lose a little battle in the short term, but you win the war in the end if you play your cards right. I appreciate that. Let's switch gears. So much to uncover here. I have just been beside myself watching this hearing go on and on. I want to talk to you both about this character evidence that these defense attorneys are trying to convince the court that it's proper to have it come in. That we're talking about 10 prior bad acts, so to speak, with respect to the victim in this case is misconduct before the incident that's in question. To me, I think this is propensity and they can't get around it, and there is no way the court should allow this to come in.
I gotta edit my screen.
I want to get your take on this. Do you see any legal exception for the judge allowing them to introduce any of these 10 acts? Judge Kimberly, I'll go to you first, please.
No, I don't. And I would be highly surprised if any of those remote acts that they had no prior knowledge of would be deemed relevant to help them with their claim of self-defense.
Right. And I'm so glad you mentioned the no prior knowledge of, because this is, I want to piggyback on that with your question, Brian. So when we talk about a self-defense case, we all know that sometimes if a defendant is putting forth a self-defense plea, then a victim character can become an issue. As surprising as that seems, it can come in to know that if the defendant had a reasonable fear of this victim because of what he knew about him or her. Previously.
All you knew was a young black man trying to survive the streets that you heard that he was stealing out the corner
There's
store.
so many things going on here, Julie, and it's really wonderful.
Y'all didn't want him running through y'all white neighborhood because y'all think he's stealing.
Because all of the decisions that are going to be made in connection with these motions are going to directly hide what happens when this case.
You know what George Floyd was killed over? A counterfeit $20 bill.
Always the arguments that are made. And then there's the real thing.
The rest of his life and his entire life, his freedom, his summer, his year, everything was going to be ruined. And now his whole life was over that counterfeit $20 bill. White people,
that's the kind of thing that's very hard to understand.
Legislative,
because even though the judge may get
criminal administration,
and say that you're not supposed to consider this
law writers, bill passers,
determining how he acted, they always do. But one of the things that I'm hearing,
somebody's entire life
concept of
lost because of something
now,
worth less than $100.
can open the door because there's a basic concept of fairness, and that is if you're going to try to say that you're a good
Trayvon,
person,
Skittles,
then I
a
get to try to
hoodie.
say that you're a bad person. And
Sandra
experts
Bland that
can
ate the
rely on
weed,
anything.
ate the
They can rely on things they
marijuana.
haven't seen. So what I'm hearing is that
Eric
this
Garner
next thing
selling
about
loose
this state of
cigarettes
mind,
at corner store.
that actually could open the door, Julie.
Monetary value of less than 100 American dollars.
Kindly stay with us. I just am being told I have to take a commercial break. So we're going to step aside for that. When we come back, we're going to continue our live coverage of the motions hearing happening in Georgia over the killing of
They're saying they want to keep using his character witnesses. Character witnesses, y'all. They brought a lady from the corner store to say that he filled out her corner store. In George Floyd's case, guess what though? They brought a witness from the crowd, a medical practitioner offering medical care to George Floyd, who was screaming on the ground, and the police officers refused medical care because the woman was in regular clothing. However, in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, he was killed by 3 white men, all in regular clothing. These white men were not arrested or even charged with anything until social media went viral with the video of the killing of Ahmaud Arbery and demanded an investigation, and Internal Affairs have an investigation for a racially fueled murder in the state of Georgia. And I want y'all to know that that is something you can do in every state. You can file with the state attorney general under the George Floyd Justice Act of 2020. Get with your legal teams, your law firms, your attorneys, your lawyers, y'all, and legal representatives, and you have them file a movement with your state attorney general to order internal affairs under the George Floyd Justice Act of 2020 for a racially discriminatory or a racially unfair case, trial, murder, anything that the police did in your state. Y'all, we're going to play a song and give a moment of silence for George Floyd, and we're going to file this blunt. Y'all, 6:12 p.m., almost 2 hours past 4:20 here on the West Coast. Hope y'all having a great, wonderful day. It's starting to cool off, and the sun is going down. Probably within an hour here, we'll start feeling the temperature drop and start seeing the shade outside for us to hide in instead of getting burnt by the sun. So if you have not rolled a blunt, made a drink, a cup of coffee, or a sandwich, or fired up a square, whatever it is that you do, now's the time to do so. We're about to get in this smoke session, and y'all make sure y'all let me know what is you smoking, what flavors are popular in your area, what is brand spanking new, and what is the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. And make sure you let us know in the comments also what not to smoke, what is the weakest shit out there. Y'all make sure y'all let us know for what is you smoking. The song we're about to play is by Joe the Vocalist. He had me act in his Better Half video last year. This is a solo song of his dedication for George Floyd called I Can't Breathe. Y'all please take a moment with me to honor George Floyd and take a moment to reflect on how important
moment of silence
this is
for George Floyd.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. Officer, you got me handcuffed. There's 3 of y'all. I'm on the pavement, one on my neck. The other one's trying to break my arm. The other one won't let me move my legs. I can see my peers, eyes wide in fear, screaming, trying to get to me, trying to help me breathe. Trying to help me breathe out. Officer, whatever you think. worth me not making it home to my kids. I can't breathe, breathe, breathe. Oh.
Now is the time for us to unite. It's obvious that the powers that be are against us, and we need to bring an end to the divide. It's the only way that we all gonna be able to rise up and rage against the machine, the system. I'm Joe the Vote, and this is my message to everyone. Rest in peace, George Floyd.
All right, now let's get into some hood shit. Really quick, I just want to reiterate the fact, y'all, it's so important. If you are able to vote, please vote. Vote.org for legalizing businesses, community programs, after school programs, public education, public transportation, public housing, free healthcare clinics, politicians running for office, propositions being written into laws, Prop 22, Prop 10, Prop 17, all of that. You can find all of that shit at vote.org, y'all. This is very important. If you are able to vote, please do vote. If you're not sure how to vote or what to vote on, find somebody. Find a person of color. Find a woman of color. A woman of color who doesn't depend on a white man. A woman of color who's tired of depending on a white man. Or a white man law, a white man budget, a white man restriction, a white man stipulation. Or ask me. Get somebody who made straight A's in college. Get somebody who works by themselves, whose parents don't hand them anything. Who's had to create jobs and who's had to mentor and produce or mentor and train or promote or do something for somebody else in their family. Y'all get somebody. Ask somebody and they're going to show you. Someone like me, I'm not going to police you. I'm not going to argue and piss you off and make that the reason why you do something. That's parenting and policing, manipulating somebody's emotions to do something. But make a difference if you are able to vote. There's also petitions on change.org, y'all. Justice for George Floyd, justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for Breonna Taylor. Come on. Justice for Vanessa Gillen, shut down and restaff Fort Hood. No more kids in cages. Defund the wall. Disband ICE. No more Trump secret police. Make the KKK a terrorist fraction. Disband the KKK. Justice for Ma'Khia Bryant, 16-year-old black girl wielding a knife in a fight, was shot and killed by the police, shot 4 times immediately. Not in the foot, not in the wrist or the shoulder. Not tased, not pepper sprayed. She had a knife. She had to. The girl had the knife the whole time before you got there. Ain't nobody died yet till you got there. The girl holding the knife was the one who lived there that they was calling the police to come help. "13-year-old Adam Toledo out in the streets killed because supposedly he had a gun. Supposedly ran to an alleyway, supposedly tossed the gun, and supposedly, not supposedly, and definitely for surely on video and on camera, came out of the parking lot with his hands up and was still shot and killed. What you thought, Mr. Officer? You thought he was gonna reach in his pocket and shoot you still? Little 13-year-old boy that just ran down the alleyway. And if you think 13-year-old boys are luring police into alleyways to get shot and killed, maybe you should be worried about the bigger picture of what's really going on that's causing that. Instead of shooting all the little 13-year-old boys in the city. I don't know. I wasn't there. But all these and many more at change.org, including a petition for a forced stimulus check, okay? Including for a petition for police reform. A lot of people want to defund the police. Maybe stop covering their ass. Vote.org and change.org, y'all. And if you are low on funds or low on health insurance, please visit mdsave.com, as in Dr. MD, and save you some money. mdsave.com. For underground vouchers and coupons, it'll save you hundreds, maybe even thousands on medical and hospital needs and procedures locally in your city and state. If you don't have vouchers, look at the state next to you. Do not miss out on a procedure. Do not miss out on your health, on your healing. Do not miss out on getting healed in time to still be able to do that before you can't anymore. In my case, a tumor off of my bladder, and reversing my testosterone and my PCOS so that I could give birth to biological children one day without tearing my bladder wall and killing myself and making my heart stop. Poisoning my bloodstream. Okay? mdsave.com. All right, we're about to get into some thug shit, some West Coast shit. We're going to turn up. Y'all, this is 580 Rail featuring JT Gutter. Get Off Me. The scenes you will see with me in it, dressed in all white at the Jacka Memorial site.
Real.
Oakland,
My nigga come with me. Yeah.
Y'all make sure you get in this smoke session. 6:23 p.m.
R.I.P. the Jack, I sold a whole lot of crack. R.I.P. Milk, he told me to get the rack. R.I.P. Kobe, I'm shooting shit where I'm at. And nigga, kill yourself, you ain't getting the bag, motherfucker. Yeah, bitch, get off. Bitch. Bitch, get off. Bitch, get off. And be hard, and I'm feeling this song. Big dog, cool as fuck, but don't you get me pissed off. How I get to moving like a maid and how you dust off. A lot of niggas changed on me. I'ma stay the same, homie. Cut them niggas off and change the mission to remain over. Cash app notifications, them be my favorite. Hear you niggas talking about money, who really make it? Racks in the middle, but we started off in Pintos. Now I got these blues and I'm feeling instrumentals. That shit's simple. I pop you like a pimple. Cut the bitch off because her mindset was simple. Told her that I need a better bitch, taking bigger risks. Know that it's not my bitch if she ain't ran chips. Get the neck, beat her down, pass her Pete Maverick. Gave her 5-minute dick, got back to the cash flip. Make her fall from average, really sick up in the head. Blame it on them long nights when I was stuck up in the feds. And yeah, they trap my body, but ain't trap my mind. And I ain't hard to find, but you ain't slide yet. And this heater on my hip, it ain't my time yet. And if the bitch ain't drop a bag, she ain't mine yet. R.I.P. the Jack, I sold a whole lot of crack. R.I.P. Milk, he told me to get the rack. R.I.P. Kobe, I'm shooting shit where I'm at. And nigga, kill yourself if you ain't getting the bag, motherfucker. Yeah, bitch, get off. Bitch, I had to go get my nigga get off, right? Bitch, get off. Talk to him.
We've been grinding all night, we don't get no sleep. Doing drugs to get high, can't let them do me. I'm up in my bag while you up in your feelings. Wonder why your bitch begging, cause you wanna go to Roses. R.I.P. Jack, since the day we bought them rifles out. Heard so many stories how it happened, we gon' find it out. I don't give a fuck trying to buy my style. Game from a stand-up nigga, I had to write it down. Who you know respect it, could pull up the Indies out of town. Yeah, what's life without challenges? My niggas got 2 strikes from mowing, then they out it. All we know is wrong, doing right is hard to balance it. How you gonna bring a knife to fight against these calibers? Poke balling on you amateurs. Got shooters that's gonna press you for us, fingers going at it. Niggas show their guns and tricks, but pussy scared of shoot. Jumping out, blowing my nigga like parachutes.
R.I.P. the Jack, I sold a whole lot of crack. R.I.P. Milk, he told me to get the racks. R.I.P. Kobe, I'm shooting the shit where I'm at. And nigga, kill yourself if you ain't getting the bag, motherfucker. Yeah, bitch, get off. Nah, bitch. Bitch, get off. Bitch, get off. Yeah, the beat hard and I'm feeling this song. Yeah. 580 real. JT Gutter. Yeah. Sounds by real. Like, subscribe. Tap in, man. Real nigga music, man. Subscribe to my nigga JT Gutter shit too, man. Motor Cup. Rest in peace to Jack. Bitch, get off. Bitch, get off. The beat hard and I'm killing the song.
Yeah. What else? What else y'all want to do? Y'all want to close out the show? We done gave Facebook and YouTube almost 40 minutes. Let's make it a whole 40, huh? Shall we? Close it out with what y'all want? The Guapole remix? Y'all want some R&B? Y'all want Dreezy, Spar? Or y'all just want to hear the Cherry Franklin show song? Come on, let's just play the outro, the song, the intro for the outro. Y'all ready? Before we go, once again, do what you can, where you can, when you can. Change.org, vote.org. And if you need help with medical and hospital needs and procedures, mdsave.com. You're beautiful, y'all. Your soul is beautiful. Your energy is positive. You're important to me, your community, your family, and your friends. And I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here, making me a top streamer, all of that. And thank y'all for my money, though. We're going to fire up. We're not even halfway through the blunt. We're going to stop at halfway. We should be there by the end of this song and fade to the background and get on these instrumentals. So, until the next smoke session, thank y'all for being here again.
Hey, put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at. Eyes on low, but I'm up there. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up with stickers. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. Yeah, she on me. We don't go. I want the bag. Give me the cash. I want the low. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up with stickers. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We rolling up with stickers. Y'all niggas be switching. Might be sit back and listen. Put the whole team on attention. Jack white nigga on gremlin. When I hit the blunt, nigga, it's a collision. Just like a gremlin. We got some in there, joints in the air. We do not care. So we on the left. We smoking rap. So you need a tap. Let's go. The Z-Man. It's the best time for the season. Your own joint, no leeching. I can just smash out a beat it. I'ma get mine, so I'm greedy. Shawty said she want me to eat it. I told her I'm vegan. Hey, shawty on super straight. I got the Mary J. That be my ace. You can add me to the race. Foot on the gas, so get out the way. You coming last, you a disgrace. Go with my stash, I be where you stay. When I get mad, I roll up the pay. Gas, blowing no bait. Ay, put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at. Eyes on low, but I'm up there. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up with stickers. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We on the gas, she on the mid. We on go. I want the bag. Give me the cash. I want the low. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up this picture. Everywhere I make smoke in the air.
Go in the car, the room, it go down. Every time the young move, smoke come out. 209, yeah, that's my cloud. Blunt rotations, that's my crowd. You ain't gotta smoke this Cali. Put it in the wood, but she grew it in the valley. Keep on wax on leaf on tap. I'll turn the team up, pet rally. Why you think they call me Cherry? I had great sister in the blueberry. Mr. Jack, I'm coming with the Mary. This that thing, yo, air pack spare me. I got lungs like a motherfucking vacuum. Puff, ass that pass, I'll tax you. That's just facts, no cap, boo. I put it on wax for the pack, boo. It's written on me like a tattoo. Big circle like a battle rapper's tattoo. Like blunts, but I put it in a zag too. Like fronts, but I put it on the bag too. Don't do me. I keep 5 on it like the Loonies. Get your ass off with a 2-piece. It go 2 meat. Quit acting brand new like a groupie. You just put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at. Eyes don't know, but I'm up there.
All right, y'all, 6:31 p.m. 2 hours, 11 minutes past 4:20. Coming into the evening here on the West Coast, Northern California, Stockton, California to be exact. Baby, we're going to fade to the background and the pay sites. Make sure you follow us on all music websites, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Come on, The Cherry Franklin Show. Love y'all.